Ramos spoke for the first time today about the criticism he's received since the Champions League final. Unrepentant, I think, is a good way to describe it. Bloody hell, it's all been blown out of all proportion. I didn't want to talk, but everything gets magnified. Salah pulls my arm first and I fall on the other side. He continues that then when his other arm is injured, they say that I've done a judo move on him. Then the goalkeeper says he's concussed after a clash with me. Now it only needs Firmino to say he got the flu as a drop of my sweat fell on him.
Well, actually, that could be tomorrow's story.
It could be, couldn't it?
I mean, has anybody checked that he actually hasn't got the flu?
I know, send him.
I think he's fed up with it as well. But did the Spaniard say bloody hell?
No, he said another word which we can't quite translate. I think we've diluted it.
Look, I think he's just... Obviously, he's the guy, the central figure, right? Well, one of the central figures here. And even he's now got a World Cup to play in. Can't we just stop talking about this? But it just seems to have ballooned, particularly this Carey story that popped up yesterday, where he's been to Boston and had an examination, blah, 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 and the results are there for everybody to see. And I think he's just tipped him over the edge as well.
But he could have quite easily come out and said, look, I'm sorry for everything that's happened, but that's football. Let's move on. But he hasn't really, has he?
No, and I don't have a problem with what he's done. You know, he's been around a long time. And he knows if he tries to apologise, people will jump on him for that. So what does he do? He just bees himself. He takes the mickey out of it. And I'm glad he did. Because I'm getting sick of it as well. Everybody keeps saying, why do they keep asking me what I think about everything all the time? I mean, the guy fouled Salah, but that's it. As far as the goalkeeper, there was an official there that should have seen it, didn't see it, and that's the end of it. So I don't get all this.
But as I said, he seems unrepentant in the fact that he seems to have given Karius a concussion.
Oh my God! He hasn't broken his leg in a compound fracture and the bone sticking out. It happens.
Gigi Buffon will be facing a 3-match ban if he plays in the Champions League next season after the actions at the Bernabeu. Of course, he was sent off, wasn't he, for the way in which he acted towards Michael Oliver. You agree, Craig?
Well, it's not just that. And we talked about this. He doubled down and doubled down again for days, maybe even a week after, and used... I mean, he's got no... should have been no qualms about the way he acted there. I mean, Michael Oliver was absolutely right. But to then come out with the rhetoric that he did about Oliver being too young, about some of the other stuff that I can't even remember.
Yes.
Which was just...
Heart of stone, things like that.
It was just absolutely ludicrous. So, yeah, absolutely right. Ban him.
Do you agree, Darky? Three-match ban right for you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he was way out of order with those comments. I mean, it was a penalty. It was an emotional overreaction, a huge rant. And, I mean, what happened afterwards was horrible with the death threats to Michael Oliver's family. This got all out of hand. But to be fair to Buffon, I think 2 days later when he'd calmed down, he did apologise. He said, I want to give the referee a hug now. And maybe in the cold light of day, he knew he'd been an idiot.
That was about 2 weeks later.
Yeah, it was a little bit later than that. He doubled down, he says, at the weekend after the game. But, Stevie, it seems fair in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, up until then, you talk about squeaky clean, the perfect professional. Some actually said that this was going to harm his reputation, but it hasn't at all. And I think 3 games was absolutely spot on.
I mean, it's hardly a disaster. I mean, it was not, as Stevie said, I mean, Zinedine Zidane headbutted somebody in a World Cup final.
Yes, he did.
You know what I mean? So he's lost the plot. Well, the disappointing thing was that the time frame in between where he could have and should have really seen the clearer picture, and people were going, well, it's understandable, this is one of the great ambassadors of the game. It doesn't matter. You're not above the law. You're not above the law of your actions on the field and not above the law of what you say even a week or 10 days after. So I'm sure now he might regret it, he might not, but UEFA are absolutely spot on to come down on him and say, it doesn't matter who this is, you cannot deal with officials in this manner.
Neymar has got to come in. So what do? Do you take out Fernandinho, therefore you can keep Coutinho, he'll come a little deeper, Villian on the right, then Neymar on the left? Or do you take out Coutinho or Villian and then bring in Neymar?
I think the man that will be taken out will be Paulinho. I think you'll be looking at Fernandinho and Casemiro, along with those 3 up front. If they're playing the qualifying games and they're playing against teams that we know they're going to comfortably beat, then I think he goes with an attacking lineup. I think against your Germanys and your Spains, you might look at 3 defensive midfielders, and then that completely changes the whole outcome.
Or 3 what you would call natural midfielders, which
Right.
you wouldn't really say Coutinho is. I mean, he plays in there, but he's not what we would consider a natural, strong midfielder. Neymar would probably slip in there, as Stevie said, and when they're playing the weaker teams, he can probably have carte blanche to do what he wants. But against the better teams, I think you'll see a less attacking, if that is the case, Brazilian side.
If you haven't done so yet, be sure to go over to the website and choose your Ultimate World Cup 11. That's exactly what Mr. Dark has done. Take a look at it, have a peruse if you like. A couple of things that stand out, Darky. Alisson instead of De Gea, and no room for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, look, it's like being let loose in a candy store, isn't it, trying to pick this? I think we can only pick the World Cup 11, the real one, when we've seen the World Cup. But look at those 3 up front. Come on. I mean, it's a terrific lineup, and I just think that is a great blend with Griezmann, who's a player I absolutely love watching. Top scorer at Euro 2016, and he might be at this World Cup
So you've got
as well.
Salah over Cristiano Ronaldo, Ian.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're assuming that Mo Salah is going to be fit. And we're talking about players who are 100% fit. The guy is in absolutely magnificent form. And I think in that team, he would score a stack full of goals. And Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe he's a year past his best now.
What about
Wow!
Hold on. Wait.
I knew that'd get you going.
Yeah, well, you hate Real Madrid. Where's Neymar?
Well, I've gone for Salah. So,
Hold on.
I've
Salah over Neymar?
we're picking, aren't we, among great footballers? So
Neymar, Griezmann
it's something for you to debate.
Griezmann over Neymar and Salah over Neymar.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, because Neymar's just coming back from a long injury.
Oh, hold on. Salah's injured. Salah's injured.
Yeah, but he's only been injured for a couple of weeks, and he's had the season of all seasons, hasn't he?
And no Marcelo either.
No.
Ian, you really hate Real Madrid.
Jordi Alba's been absolutely brilliant this season for Barcelona, and I think Marcelo goes for walkabout at times, and he might leave you a little bit
What
vulnerable
about
down that
Kante?
side.
You've got Kante in there for Chelsea and France. Didn't have a great season really as Chelsea did. What about Casemiro?
think-
What about Casemiro? What about Cruz? What about Paulinho? What about Fernandinho at
Now,
Man
Kroos,
City?
hang on, Kroos is in the team.
Oh,
Kroos
sorry.
is in the team.
My eyes are
Yeah.
not great. I'm reading. What about Fernandinho at
Conte
Man
had
City?
a very good. Conte was the one player who did have a very good season.
Who was better,
at Chelsea.
Conte or Fernandinho at Man City?
Well, that's a good. Yeah,
I've got you. I've got you.
Fernandinho being the argument, but Conte for me.
Come on. I've got
Why
you
am
there.
I the guy picking this team?
You're the only one who responded to the email. That's what you learned.
These two have opted out of it, and all they're doing is sitting, sniping at it.
Darky, I think that's a good team.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a good... What's wrong with it?
There's nothing wrong
By the
with
way,
team.
you can, of course, do that on the website. You can also do our match predictor. Remember, the person that accumulates the most points wins $25,000. Welcome into Extra Time. Stevie and Craig here. Ian's almost... Ian, when do you go to Russia? Are you all packed?
June the 11th.
June the 11th.
No, of course I'm not packed. I won't be packed the night before. You know me.
Bish, bash, bosh, I like it. Right. Who is under the most pressure to have success at this year's World Cup? Neymar, Pogba, maybe a manager like Deschamps or Martinez?
Oh, I'll tell you what, definitely Deschamps under pressure.
Yes.
I mean, every man and his dogs, all they're talking about is this guy good enough as a coach to handle so many world-class players?
Plus you got Zidane there as well now.
Oh, big time, you're not kidding. So, absolutely Deschamps.
He's got Zidane there.
There's Zidane in the background. There he is.
All right,
Sampaoli?
easy,
Yeah.
how you doing, son?
Sampaoli?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, definitely Deschamps.
Deschamps.
100%.
Ian, who do you think is under the most pressure? Players, maybe.
Well, I'd agree with Deschamps, but I think I'd throw in Chiche as well. He's done brilliantly so far, but the World Cup with Brazil, until they wipe out the memory, I suppose they never will, of the 7-1, against Germany, that will always come to haunt. So Brazil always expects to win, so there's pressure.
Who will win the Golden Boot?
I've gone for Neymar.
I went for Neymar as well.
Oh, Ian?
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Oh,
I should.
Well-
You're the last person I should tell this to, but
Why?
well, I filled in a World Cup team today, right? And I forgot about Neymar.
so you got Neymar to be the top goal scorer, but he's not in your ultimate 11.
Correct.
You had Harry Kane in your team,
Yeah.
ahead of Neymar.
Neymar doesn't play centre forward,
Right.
right? Or is that your, is that your argument?
No, that's-
And they were criticising me.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. Hey, I stuck up for you, by the way. And you're having a go at me. Come on, then. So who you playing?
Anyway,
who you playing centre forward?
He's got Griezmann. We know
I'm going
he's
to
got
go Griezmann for top scorer.
Griezmann
for
doesn't
top
even play
scorer.
centre forward for his team.
Yeah, but he plays like a withdrawn striker and he gets loads of goals, 2 in the Europa League final.
Oh, so he's not a
his
centre
stats
forward
are
then?
brilliant.
It's a yes or no
His stats
answer. Is he a centre forward? No,
I don't think you're in any position to be throwing stones.
not really, but I'm
with
trying.
your team.
No. Timo Werner. What about Timo Werner for
Yeah,
Germany?
yeah.
He might be the surprise one.
Yeah.
They always come up with a goal scorer, don't they?
Certainly do.
That was a good change of direction there.
Oh, I like
Davy,
it.
well done. Nice one, Sean.
What is a day in the life of Steve Nicol really like?
Oh, God.
What time do you get up, Steve? Midday?
Today,
If the alarm goes off,
I was up at 10 o'clock today.
well, the alarm was there
That's
thunder,
because you've got jet lag still from your
what,
I've still
scuffle.
got jet
thunder
lag.
and lightning or something, or something fall off the roof? Why
Normally
was
you're
it
up at midday,
No,
yeah?
my stomach was
quarter to
rumbling.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, Mrs Nicol brings you breakfast in bed?
Yeah, healthy muesli.
At the moment, no, because our mother is staying with us.
Right.
So the attention has all been deflected towards her mother.
But traditionally it's breakfast in bed?
Now and
And what would
again.
that be made up of?
Not too much. Sausage, bacon, eggs, mushrooms, fried eggs, toast, mug of tea.
Lovely. And this,
But have you noticed that because
this is eaten
fried potatoes.
on a tray?
well,
on a tray.
Yeah, with and well,
On
the
a
tray
tray.
and the sheets just never goes on the sheets.
Well, everything's all been taped
But you
the
do
night
notice
before,
Yeah.
and then I'll just go through it.
Perfect.
Maybe a bit of golf, maybe a bit
it's
of...
usually after 11 by this point,
Sounds great.
which now means it's very close to lunchtime. However, lunch never gets pushed back.
Right.
So there's a very short window between him eating a lad's breakfast and a lad's lunch.
Usually homemade soup for lunch.
Okay.
My wife likes to make... she likes cooking, she makes a lot of homemade soup.
Right.
My favourite is leek and potato.
Oh, what's the one you don't like that she makes?
And then
Well, there's really not one at all. Truth be told.
And then dinner? Is this the lights?
Dinner, just something light, you know, half a pound of minced potatoes with beans and peas, or maybe some breaded fish with loads of chips.
Oh, lovely.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry,
And then
we call them chips. But
what about the ice cream
over here they call
that you
them
don't
fries.
want?
Ice cream.
That she
Ice cream
brings
and
you?
peaches is my favourite. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. She's just got some of this red. You know the red sauce. You remember when you were a kid, the ice cream van?
the strawberry
You used to
sauce,
get
yeah.
strawberry
Strawberry,
sauce.
yeah,
You've
we
got
know it's
some of
red.
that. Yeah,
You know
and then-
strawberry sauce is red, yeah.
And then after that, or maybe 5 minutes, and I'll have a cup of tea and a Kit Kat, an orange Kit Kat.
Right.
That's lovely.
And then,
And then supper.
when you got your bed,
Supper.
oh yeah, then you got your bed. You always take some up and you go to bed. Don't you?
Yeah, I've got a bad habit of taking crisps to bed.
You take up you'll eat crisps in bed.
Bad habit.
It's really a 24-hour cycle.
Yeah.
There's no sleep involved.
I'm surprised I get here in time, by the way.
Darky, I know you're laughing, but he's actually not. He's not kidding.
No, I think it sounds great. I mean, I
does.
think this is a coffee table book. You know, soccer the Steve Nicol way.
I think oh, there is a book available, isn't there, Steve?
Everyone
Oh, there
should be
just happens
doing
to be
it.
one available.
There is a book
Darky.
available,
I don't know whether
yes.
you've heard of it.
How cheap is that these
It's got
days?
5 league titles and a packet of crisps.
Is it still available?
Are they? Is it sold out?
Of
Is there a
course
new
it's sold
print?
it. I don't know. I'll need to phone
Are you
them
going
up.
to do any more editions, extra chapters on what's been going on
What
in
does
your
that
life
mean?
last year?
What does that mean?
Yeah, sometimes they re-release the book with a little more information.
No, I don't think I could top it, to be quite honest with
You
you.
beat.
Yeah.
Who wrote it?
ESPN FC returns to your screens tomorrow. What's happening tomorrow?
I'm off, I don't know.
I'm off as well.
Yeah.
Are you in, Craig?
Who's presenting?
I don't know who's presenting tomorrow.
Ed?
I think so, maybe. Maybe
What day's tomorrow?
Wednesday.
I won't be Adrian then.
Ah, Frank LaBeouf is on, apparently.
Oh,
Is he
hee haw,
presenting?
hee haw, hee haw. Frank's is he not acting?
He must have a day off.
Silent movie again.
Frank's been acting the GOAT for years.
Jose Mourinho is clearly in the mood to get his business done early. Manchester United have announced the signing of Brazilian midfielder Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk. He was linked with a move throughout last season, but wise to get it done before the World Cup, Stevie?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, the guy's a talent, and if Brazil do win the World Cup and he plays a major part, then that 50 million that they've paid for him, we believe, could end up being 60 or even 70. So, yes, I think it's a smart move. The guy is a talent. The guy's a player. He makes them better. He's better than Fellaini. In my opinion, he's better than Herrera as well. So, absolutely an upgrade for United.
Is it offering a little bit of dynamism to that midfield? And one of the criticisms was they didn't have much legs in midfield. You see that as a big part of what he brings?
Absolutely. You know, the only thing this guy doesn't do is score goals, really. But United, in that position in the middle of the park, are looking for somebody to shut things down, and then when they get the ball, open them up. He does both.
OK, so Manchester United making the moves early. Fred is a Manchester United player now as they continue to rejig that midfield ahead of a busy season to try and close the gap and obviously challenge for the title. We'll see how he goes in the World Cup. Paul Pogba's responded to some criticism that he's been suffering throughout the season with some strong statements regarding his personality. He's made comments in light of some of the criticism. People can't tell me how I have to play, he says. No one can tell me how I have to play. If I'm in this position today, it's by being like this. It's my football, that's all. People either love it or not. What's your take on that, Stevie?
Unfortunately, Pogba's a character that attracts attention. And when you are transferred for a huge sum of money, then that attention will stay on you. And if you keep attracting it, when you're not quite at your best, then you're going to receive criticism. And that's all that's happened to this guy. At Juventus, he got all the praise because of what he did on the field. People love the way he does his hair, and they love his personality. And all that's great when things are going well, but when things are not going so well, it can be a distraction and it can affect you. And I think there's no question he's saying it's not affecting him. I think it is affecting him. What he's doing with all the other stuff off the field, and even when he's on it, trying to fan down and show little pieces of, well, things he shouldn't be doing in the middle of the park, then he's going to get criticism. And right now, he deserves it.
If he keeps reacting in this way, it's going to perpetuate the criticism. And if you're right, it's going to lead to worse performances, surely.
Unless he turns it on the field of play every single time he steps on the field of play. And again, I go back to the huge sum that he came for to Manchester United. When you have a Messi and you have a Ronaldo, these guys, every single time they step on the field, they produce it. They've been doing this for years, a decade, both of them. Pogba's got a long way to go to be able to get away with stuff, particularly that Ronaldo does off the field. He needs to get it done on the field first and then shows what he's got off the field.
Just one question on the ambition side. It seems as if he's saying, I've kind of achieved, you know, what I set out to do, and anything that I achieve is going to be based on my personality and showing myself like this, so it doesn't look like he's going to change.
That's not great from a desire point of view. He probably should have said, I want to get better every time I step on the field, something along those lines. Unfortunately, he's come across again as a little arrogant and as if he's made it. That's not great. That's not a good position to be in as a professional footballer.
Did Zinedine Zidane really quit over the transfer targets of Eden Hazard and David De Gea at Real Madrid? This report surfacing, Stevie. Did it come down to that?
I think it may have done, yes. You know, Zidane, although Zidane's been the manager for 3 seasons, he's been in an awful lot longer than that. So he knows the workings and certainly how Perez thinks and how he deals with the transfer policy. And if I'm Zidane, the only thing he has to lose now is his reputation. And so if he's going to have no say on who comes or who goes, it's going to affect what happens on the field and his reputation. Zidane's in a position where he doesn't need the job, he doesn't need the money. He can look after himself. I think he's looking after himself.
It's a pretty short-sighted view from Perez, if that is the case, isn't it? Because you know the personality that Zidane is. You know that he's going to want to have that say. You know the squad needs rebuilding, so why not bring him into it?
Regardless of who the manager is or has been at Real Madrid, Perez is the almighty as far as he's concerned. So anything he thinks should be done will be done, regardless of what the current coach or manager thinks. And Zidane is just basically saying, you know what, I don't really need this. Oh, and by the way, there's a little matter of a French job that probably is going to be coming up shortly, so maybe that had something to do with it as well.
Just on De Gea and Hazard, the two players who've been mentioned in this report, which one of the two, if you had to take one, would you take in their predicament?
Wow. Both.
Or maybe if Real Madrid had taken that opinion, that Zidane may still be the manager, but he's not. And obviously Real Madrid have a big job over the summer to rebuild or tweak that squad. First of all, the manager search. There's sure to be a glittering array of stars at the World Cup, but obviously there are some high-profile omissions. Much has been written about some of the names that have been left off the World Cup rosters going into Russia. Of the starting 11 that we've assembled at ESPN FC, who stands out the most for you, who would be a big, big miss for their teams?
Well, there's definitely one that stands out more than the others, but there are a couple that are... I mean, Icardi, I think, has just been unfortunate. The quality that Argentina have at centre-forward is why he's not going. Morata, he's a big name, but he hasn't done anything on the field, either with Spain or with Chelsea in this past 12 months to actually warrant a place in the squad. But the big one, of course, has to be Sané. You talk about a talent. Any other team or any other country in this World Cup would snatch this guy away in a heartbeat. And I don't understand that for a couple of reasons. Sané has been so good at the highest level in the Premier League for the past season. Won the Young Player of the Year. Going forward, absolutely incredible, scoring goals and then making assists. And the guy that has taken his place, Julian Brandt, as good a young player as he is playing for a team that are fifth in the Bundesliga. He's had a good season, but he's nowhere the quality, in my opinion, going forward, that Sané is.
The other part of it is, of course, just to touch on the Sané thing, Brandt isn't deemed to be a starter, you wouldn't think. So as a game changer off the bench, to have the impact that Sané could have, surely that would be an advantage.
Yeah, just another reason why it doesn't make sense. You know, trying to figure out why this decision was made, I can only come up with one thing, and it has to be from a defensive point of view. As good as Sané is going forward, maybe Yugolov's got question marks over him and his defensive posture. You know, does he pick up good defensive positions to start with? Does he make good decisions defensively? And this is me struggling to come up with a real reason why you don't have this kid Sané in your team. So it's a head scratcher, no question, but at the end of the day, Julian Brandt ain't a bad player.
Okay, and Didier Deschamps for France, he's left a few high-profile ones at home as well, not least Rabiot, Martial, Lacazette.
Rabiot astounds me. To me, he was the future of French international football. So to not even include him, I feel is a strange move. Martial, not a surprise, hasn't been starting. And again, you look at the talent that France have available, then it's not a huge shock.
Okay, well, we'll see how far, obviously, Germany and France expected to go deep into the tournament, but whether those omissions will actually cost them further down the line, we'll keep our eyes, as always, at ESPN FC. Yaya Touré would play effectively for £1 a week guaranteed, just to prove Pep Guardiola was wrong in his treatment of him. That's the latest quote to be coming out of the Yaya Touré camp now that he's a free agent. Stevie, what do you make of all this?
You talk about not helping yourself. Not only throughout his career has Yaya come out with stupid statements complaining, obviously money. I guess a lot of players complain they don't get enough money. But then he's talking about not getting a birthday cake. Now he's trying to say that Pep Guardiola doesn't like African players. I mean, if I'm a coach of any other team, I don't care how good a player Yaya Touré is. He's 35 and he sounds like a little bit of trouble. He sounds as though he still has a huge ego. And if things don't go his way, he will throw anybody under the bus other than himself. So he's not helping himself at all.
Where do you see him playing next year?
I don't see him playing with any of the top teams. That's the one thing I will say. You know, maybe somebody in the Premier League may take a chance on him and look to get, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 games out of him, because no question, at 35 years, a guy who wasn't the quickest is very much labouring getting around the field. Has talent, yes, with the ball at his feet, has quality. So maybe bottom tier of the Premier League. Other than that, he's going to have to go abroad somewhere.
And for you, there's no substance to some of his accusations with regards to Pep Guardiola's treatment of him, and it just seems to be an individual personality thing that's gone on for years between those two.
Yeah, exactly. And to actually come out with a statement of him having a problem with African players, you know, we can laugh off the birthday cake issue, and we can say that it's just football players complaining about money. But a statement like this is scandalous.
Okay, well, we'll see if any of the top 6 that Yaya Toure apparently is ready to play for £1 a week take a chance on him, or whether he finds himself further down the league ladder, or maybe in a different league entirely.